So I want to talk a little bit today about both the unity and non-duality of the absolute, and really tying it into love and presence. And as I talk about the absolute, I make these distinctions: the manifest and the unmanifest, and the different qualities. And I do that so that we can talk about it. We can have sort of a conceptual layout. It's not actually like that. I mean, it's more that it's all together, and then it sort of ebbs and flows, whatever's needed, and in its own wisdom. But it's important for us to make contact with the qualities of the absolute. So when I'm doing a guided meditation, I don't have an expectation that you're going to see what I see or feel what I feel. That's not the point. The point is I'm describing what's in our field. And it's for you to discern, what are you in contact with? Somebody in the interview was saying during the unmanifest, and we went into the blackness and peace and stillness, they weren't feeling that. They were feeling, I think they said, ease. Perfectly fine. Somebody else felt smooth. Again, perfectly fine. But this is for you to discern, what do you feel there? I'm telling you what I'm experiencing, what I'm accustomed to. So this is where you start making it your own and identifying it. And when we're in the absolute, we want to journey a bit. We don't just want to sit. We want to sort of look around. And you do that by really having all your senses open and just picking up on whatever's happening, whatever's here that you can discern. And that's really how I learned about all these different qualities, is just journeying, finding peace and stillness again and again and again, to the point, and then having cessation, realizing, this is what creates, or is the emanation of cessation, I guess we could say. So that's part of what you want to do. And in the absolute, the way that you journey is, if you feel that you're landed well in the absolute, that's important. If you, whether you're a visual meditator or felt sense, you sort of set your let's say your eyesight on the far wall. So if that makes sense, I mean, you're in the absolute, you just sort of set your perception at a distance, and normally if it can latch on, then that's how you move through the absolute. You'll be in that other area. Because everything is in the now. So it's not like there's a here and a there. It's all here. I can't really explain it very well with words, but we have like the walls over there and I'm here, but in the absolute, it's not like that. Everything is here. But yet there's still a great distance we can journey. And that's how you start learning kind of what's there. And the other day when we were working with the black, there was a lot of luminosity, which I talked about being representative of love and presence. The luminosity, or the potential for luminosity, is always there. It's always in the black unmanifest. Sometimes it just seems to be more pronounced. Sometimes it might be more presence than love. Why that is, I have no idea. That's in the wisdom of the absolute. But it may be what's needed in our field. I don't know. But all I'm doing is identifying what's here. So the love is a love, again, that's objective. It's not personal. Meaning the absolute doesn't preference any one of us over any other one of us. It doesn't preference us over the squirrel or the cow. It's everything is objective. All life is objective to the absolute. And it's not like, when I grew up, we went to the Christian church and they showed us this picture of this old white man with a beard and long white hair. And, it's not like that at all. It's the teachers I've talked with who have spent a lot of time practicing in the absolute will talk about that it feels like it has a feminine bias. And what that means is it's not direct from point A to point B. Everything has a kind of organicness, a kind of wholeness. I talked about the generativeness, which is why I tried to draft the precepts in a generative fashion so they would more accurately reflect the absolute, in my opinion. So this is how we kind of have to be aware of the absolute and how it works. And But the love is terribly important. I mean, this is the love that we had contact with when we were born. We had the undividedness. And there are people, not a lot, but there are people who remember. They remember in the childhood having that complete connection with nature, with something. And they remember the turn away. They remember having to make a choice. And most of them weren't happy about the choice. But it was felt to be so essential to their survival that they did it. And now we can come back. We can reconnect with that love and presence. We can reconnect with these qualities. And this is part of what, particularly I mentioned my next book, what that's about is working with things like anger and hatred and working with the vulnerabilities and the perceived weaknesses that give rise to those and being able to trace them back to that quality in the absolute. In case of anger and hatred, anger would be strength and hatred would be power. And the irony I mentioned before, the power of the absolute is the peace and stillness. The last place logically you would think to look is peace and stillness would be powerful. But there's such a stillness and such a power in that silence and stillness that it can be explosive. And that's what moves into creation. So with the presence, it's a little more subtle, I think, than some of the other qualities, but it's the here-ness, it's the immediacy, the now-ness. That's really what lets us rest in now, is the presence, the beingness quality, that everything is here, everything is in this moment. Every moment contains the totality. It's kind of like a hologram. As I understand holograms, they have a crystal, and if you break off a small piece and shine the laser through, you can see the whole of the entire hologram it came off of. And this is what the absolute is like. Any piece we can touch is going to contain the all. It has to. It doesn't segregate. Everything is everything. Well, it makes sense that everything would be in the whole. And even, there's a term in the Zen tradition, it's called something like one atom samadhi. It's one of the koans. And that's what that means. And within one atom, there's the whole. Everything is contained in that. So anything we're in contact with has the capacity to contain the whole. So it's not like we need to accumulate more. We just need to be with what we're in contact with. So one of the great sayings that the old Chan masters came up with in China was, in talking about the duality of the normal world, is they'd say not two. And of course, if I say not two, your mind probably leaps to, oh, that means one. And so their great saying was not two, not one. So they're going to take away the duality, and then they're going to take away the concept of one. And then you have the oneness, because you take it away. So this is really how it works. We're really being with this in a way that we're orienting to the not two, not one. And so the meditation we're doing, particularly the Shikantaza and some of the other meditations, innate goodness, they're really orienting us to the absolute. They're letting us make contact so we can settle, we can relax, we can begin to shift out of the normal me, the normal mechanics of me, and we can make that contact, be in communication with that unity and that non-duality.